Aloha and welcome to Lucy's Paradise podcast with a quick review episode of the season 1 of Chief of War. I want to give everybody a heads up. There's going to be a little bit of spoilers in this video. So if you have not finished the final season or the final episode of Chief of War, you might not want to watch this video yet until you finish. But Thursday evening, Friday, the last episode of the first season of Chief of War was released. Was able to watch it a couple times in its entirety and super impressed by Chief of War. Wow. Really, really, really good. Really, really, really good for season. I do feel like a little bit of the beginning of the last episode was a little slow. And I think everybody can agree, if you've watched the whole season 1, that there are a few episodes that are slower than expected. I made fun of my brother because he said that he fell asleep or something during one of the episodes, and I was like, yeah, you gotta read, bro, if you don't know how to speak Hawaiian. So one of the cool things about Chief of War that it is the very first TV series that is in Hawaiian. So that's a big, big feat for Hawaiians and the Hawaiian culture. Really, really cool that Apple TV and Jason Momoa were able to produce a show of this degree and accomplish that for the first time in history. Super amazing. I know that there are people, I guess, online that as they were watching the show, like, griped that it was in Hawaiian. I think that it really brings a good energy to the show. I mean, you're really seeing the emotion behind the Hawaiian language, and I think it's a really cool language. I mean, I might be a little bit biased because I love the Hawaiian culture, so I might be a little bit biased, but um, I think it's an interesting language. I love that it was in the show. I don't speak Hawaiian, obviously. Most of you know. I mean, I know like some Hawaiian words, but I do not speak Hawaiian. I'm not fluent in Hawaiian at all. But what I liked, this actually inspired me to want to learn Hawaiian, really. But what I did like is that you can really feel the emotion with this particular language. I noticed in watching the show, and I don't know if any of you felt this way, but it was really hard for me to watch the battle scenes. Those were hard for me, especially in knowing that the Hawaiians are killing each other. It impacted me a little bit watching it. I did watch a couple of the episodes. I think actually every episode I've watched twice. And I do that to kind of look at the cinematography, kind of read what I might have missed in the story or things like that, to just kind of like really make sure I know what was going on. But what's really interesting is season 1 Chief of War has gotten a 4.5 score. People really like the cinematography, the very powerful performances of the actors, which is another key point I have to address in this video. The acting is amazing. The last episode of season 1 is absolutely incredible. The acting in the fight scene, again, spoiler alert a little bit. The final fight scene against the female and the male Hawaiian is just like super, super powerful. You really see the male aggression and the fearlessness fighting a female, maybe her being taken for granted a little bit, and then her just, I want to say mana because that's like a Hawaiian word, but you can feel that anger building inside of her, and then she just fights back, and it's such a powerful performance. I think one of the best scenes in the last episode, besides very, very close, amazing scene to Jason Momoa walking through, the I can't say field because they're technically on like on a lava tube or whatever, which is really cool. Also, they're like fighting on a volcano, okay, which is nuts. So, but I mean, that could have been the reality right back then. So they're fighting. Jason Momoa is just like attacking Hawaiians, and it's intense, super crazy. And at one point, he grabs one of the dudes. It was the guy who was like chanting. Super great the way that was filmed. The cinematography on that is amazing. And I'm pointing these out so that when you guys do watch it, if you haven't watched it and you are okay with it being spoiled by me, which I apologize if you haven't watched it, but I did warn you in the beginning of the video. When you watch it, watch these key scenes and these key points. I'm super into movies, super obsessed with film and all that shit. So this type of stuff I love. But the action scenes, the way that they were filmed, Jason Momoa's performance, amazing, incredible. You have the fear inside of you. You feel like that king from Maui in that moment when he's watching Jason Momoa come up to him, slowly coming up to him and killing each person in his way. And then he throws a spear, misses, he dodges it like the Matrix, but like Hawaiian style Matrix. And then he like kills that dude and rips his tongue out and like takes a bite of it real quick and like just it was just gross and intense, but really great acting. This is the best acting performance I have ever seen of Jason Momoa, and I now believe he can act. Not to be critical. I guess he did pretty good in that that's Aquaman. Think he did pretty good in that Aquaman, but I don't feel like that was like such a dramatic performance, like to tap into what he's able to do dramatically as an actor. So I don't really feel like we've seen the level of acting that Jason Momoa can do yet in any of his work. But this season, this show is really displayed and showed us where his acting is. And so it's really, really incredible. I think it might be slightly helpful that he's like kind of playing himself in a way where, you know, he's supposed to be this aggressive warrior, and he, you know, it's helpful that he's also part Hawaiian. So he's probably tapping into his ancestry and these things when he's acting, which is really cool. But great job to Jason Momoa, just incredible. And all the other actors, just super incredible acting. I think one of the saddest scenes too, and again, another, you know, scene as an example of Jason Momoa's great acting in this is I believe it was the episode prior. It was either the episode before this the season finale or the second to the last episode. But the one, basically the episode where his brother gets killed. Okay, there's an episode where his brother gets killed, and it's very dramatic. He's kind of by himself. There isn't really anybody else, and he gets killed in a pretty brutal way. And then a little bit forward, Jason Momoa and them are discovering his body. And when they're discovering his body, you can really see that change of emotion in his body, the change of emotion in his face, and then him kind of having a mix of anger and just like real deep sadness. So great job to Jason Momoa. I've never seen him act that way. I would have really loved to be like behind the scenes in the filming of this, because that would have been such an incredible, impactful thing to see live in person. But the acting was just top tier. I'm glad I got to kind of talk about this to Kamaka Diaz before I watched the season finale. So this is, for me, this is the first time watching this show. I've watched it as each episode has come out, and then, like I said, I've watched each episode a couple times, kind of gaining, you know, opinions and things like that of the acting. I believe there is going to be a season 2, but also the season finale last scene is kind of like it gives very prequel energy, right? Like it's not over yet. So, and I do believe there is actually going to be another season. I love how Nobu's just sitting here listening to me now. But super excited. This was a great show. I have a couple other shows on Netflix that I recently watched that I will also do a review about. They are more investigative. They're not this action type drama like the Chief of War is. So I'm going to make a separate video about that. I wanted Chief of War to have its own sole specific video. So thank you guys so much for watching this video and other videos that I've made. If there are any video suggestions or things like that that you have for me, I'd love for you to leave some of that in the comments. Or if I make a video and you're like, nah, I don't really care about this topic. That, I guess, is good to know too. A lot of the times I just make my content based on what I think I want to put out there that I think would be beneficial for the world in some way. So whether I interview somebody that's interesting, hoping that their life story will inspire somebody out there, or reviewing a show that's very important to like Hawaiian culture, Hawaiian history, things like that. This is one of the first times the Battle of Ni'ihau, which is what Chief of War is basically the premise of the whole show. This is one of the first times the story's really been told. A lot of the Hawaiian history stories, there's no show that shows you what happened, right? We are in a day and age where everybody wants to watch a video about it or a movie about it or this and that. And with Hawaiian culture, there really isn't a lot of that. You have a lot of indie films and the Hawaii International Film Festival, which I would shout out because they probably have the best example of Hawaiian culture stories that have been being told. But there is a lack of these really important things that have happened in history for Hawaiians do not exist on social media, YouTube, movies, things like that. So for Apple TV to do this, really incredible, such a feat, moving the goalpost a little bit in the right direction for Hawaiian culture and awareness for others out there in the world. Really, really recommend this to be watched by everybody, not just to understand the story, this part of Hawaiian culture, but if you come to Hawaii, come to the museums. Check out the stuff that's in there. It's really, really fascinating. Learning about the Hawaiian culture, how they lived, things like that. And the reality of this show really shows the brutality of the Hawaiians and their determination to preserve their culture. So please watch it. Thank you so much for watching this. And thanks for watching Lucy's Paradise podcast. Aloha.